Ladies and gentlemen, KageKaze here, taking a look at yet another new god added into the Smite fray. This time we are taking a look at the Chinese goddess Chang'e, Fairy of the Moon. She comes in both standard and bright moon flavors. So, Chang'e is a ranged mage in Smite, with some interesting abilities. She only has 2 damaging abilities, one of which is her ultimate. Starting with her passive, she gets the Jade Rabbit, which in other Dota-style games would be what you might call a courier. Her Jade Rabbit can purchase or sell items from anywhere, and it will go and fetch them in the middle of battle. You will actually see a little rabbit icon even on the map that when you go and purchase something, he'll go down all the way back to the fountain and then come back to you. He can only purchase 1 item at a time, but you can purchase multiple ranks. So let's say you have a rank 1 of an item and you want to purchase up to rank 3, you can go ahead and make that purchase. It is 1 item, so he'll go back, grab the 2 ranks, and bring it back to you. But if you're trying to buy things like potions, he'll only be able to go and buy 1 at a time, so you can't do something like that to keep yourself in a lane forever. You also gain with your passive 25% movement speed and no backpedal penalty when using dances. Now, every single one of her abilities, save her ultimate, is a dance. So that means that anytime you perform an ability, you're going to get a quick 25% movement speed bonus, and you'll be able to move backwards at full speed. So Chang'e is a support mage, but you don't want to count her out in damage just yet. Her only damaging ability aside from the ultimate is Crescent Moon Dance. Chang'e flings a crescent moon that hits all units in its arc, it deals damage to all enemies, and her allies gain a physical protection buff for a short duration. At maximum level, it does 240 damage plus 50% of magic power, so as you can see, it's going to hit decently hard. You can start clearing creep lanes with this, so she's a port mage, but she can clear a line. And the duration of the buff is 3 seconds, so you can not only clear the line of enemies, but you can also buff your own creep. You have to hit whatever it is you want to buff. The way this is worded doesn't exactly suggest that. It would seem like anything nearby you would give your allies that buff, but it's not true. You want to hit your allies and hit the enemies with this, so you can sit behind your front line creep, use the Crescent Moon Dance, give your creep a physical damage or physical defense buff while killing the enemy's creep, which allows you to push forward a little bit easier. It also only has a 4-second cooldown. When you've got full cooldown gear, this ability goes down to about a little over 2 seconds. So you can use this very often. And it becomes quite useful with things like, the Gem of Isolation. Since it's a cooldown, or since it's a slowdown every 2 seconds, you could keep using this and slow them down constantly with this ability. And because it speeds you up while using it because of your passive, it's an excellent chasing ability. Now, what makes Chang'e unique is the Moonlit Waltz. This is an ability that does absolutely nothing but save yourself from damage. It doesn't do damage to the enemy team, it doesn't buff your team, it doesn't even buff you. This is what's being called as the 8-second Aegis by a lot of people on the forums, with good reason. So the Moonlit Waltz makes you perform an evasive spin dance. You're unable to be hit during this action, and for each tick of damage from an ability that was avoided, you restore mana to yourself. At maximum level, it gives back 60 mana per tick for what was avoided. And since this ability costs 60 mana, that means if you use it to dodge just one ability, you've gotten your mana back. At maximum level, it's 8 seconds, so it starts off at 16 seconds. So at level 1, this isn't too special. It's really nice to have, but you have to make sure you save it for right circumstances. But later on, 8 seconds. You completely avoid damage, roots, stuns, anything while you do this. And the ability lasts for about a second. So you can avoid things like Ares' Chain, Poseidon's Kraken, things like that very easily with this ability. And it speeds you up by 25% for the full second that you use it. So you can use it to run away and you can use it to chase. A fantastic ability for movement. And it is one of the reasons why I really like her. But it also is something that makes Chang'e very, somewhat difficult to use. You have to be fairly good with Chang'e to use her to maximum potential, because even though it's 8 seconds is not that long of a cooldown, you can't just spam it, because if you use it in the wrong circumstance, you're going to either be rooted or damaged afterwards, or you'll put yourself in a bad position with it on cooldown. So you have to be very careful. And since Crescent Moon Dance is your only damaging ability, you'll have to watch out. Now, for the support part, we have the Moonflower Dance. Chang'e twirls, scattering flowers around her, and heals herself and nearby allies. Chang'e heals herself an additional 50% for each god that she heals. The Moonflower Dance also reduces the healing of nearby enemies. So it is not the most powerful healing. It's a little stronger, I believe, than Guan Yu's healing. So 170 plus 30% of magical power. It does a decent amount of healing to allies around you. The big benefit of this, though, is, of course, healing yourself. If you're near another god, at least one other god, so in a laning phase of Conquest, this can be very useful to you. If you take a bit of damage, you go back, heal your friend, and you get a bit more healing yourself. But you can also use it offensively. You reduce the healing of the enemy. So if you're fighting an Aphrodite or something like that, you can get up there, use the dance, reduce their healing for, looks like about 4 seconds here. 8-second cooldown on this as well. So you can see that Chang'e has very, very short cooldowns. So cooldown builds will make her quite spammy and can be very interesting. Now the final ability, and this one is very useful if you're going to be building straight up damage, because this is what you'll probably be using for a lot of damage and to support your group. This is Waxing Moon. Chang'e's Waxing Moon is a captivating dance that deals damage and stuns enemies in front of you. Each subsequent god that is stunned for longer than the previous one. And if you look at the damage, it's not as large as some things like Ao Kuang's Dragon, but it's quite a bit. 475 damage at maximum level with 100% magical power damage scaling. So if you build damage, you can do quite a bit with Waxing Moon. The stun lasts for 1 second. And 1 second is added for each additional god. So if you only hit one person, they're still stunned for a second, which is quite nice, plus the damage you're doing. But in a game where the 5 gods in it, you have a potential 5-second stun. She is quite interesting because of this. Now, she does have a very slow attack speed. As you can see from the overview, her attack speed is 1 per second with an increase of 0.01 per level, which means you're not going to get very many attacks with Chang'e. So building a attack speed build with her is probably not recommended. But you could definitely build her in support, and you could definitely build with high-end damage in mind due to the Crescent Moon and the Waxing Moon. So now that we've gone over the abilities, to give you a general idea of what to expect, let's go ahead and find a game and see how she is on the battlefield.
Look inside yourself and you will see a tiny dancer.
Alright, and with that we are done going over the abilities and we are in a match. And we're going to go ahead and give this a shot, and we're going to use the auto skills system like I usually do when I go through a god on a video for the first time. I will be following the recommended items guide, not using auto buy though, because auto buy sucks. And auto buy tries to buy a rank 3 active before anything else, so I don't want to have a rank 3 meditate in the beginning of a match. So good news though is the recommended items are actually pretty nice this time around, and a pretty straightforward, kind of a generic mage build. You might want to change things up based on need, but for the most part, I really do like the build they picked this time around. So we're going to start with the Vampiric Shroud, some shoes, and I'm going to go ahead and grab myself a healing potion and a mana potion. Starts us off with Crescent Moon Dance, so that'll obviously be maxed out first. So it will be doing a little bit of damage. Who is mid? Well, I would say you are, Apollo. Freya definitely would be an alternative. So not bad. Building boots. Now, the downside to using the recommended list, of course, is that it doesn't tell me what shoes to get. It shows both. So I'm going to go with the cooldown boots because I've also got Chronos Pendant, and I want to double up the cooldown because that'll allow me to get 5 seconds on my Moonlit Waltz. So basically having... Okay. So basically you will have like a 5-second Moonlit Waltz cooldown so you can... Yeah, apparently that doesn't work. So you can constantly be avoiding damage every 5 seconds when you do it right. Okay, so are you taking it? Okay.
Thanks.
Good, because I'm going to need it. Alright, I'm going to avoid using my potion for now. Okay, let's try and keep our distance until I can get the next level, because the next one it ranks up should be the Moonlit... No, Moonlit, the Flower Blossom, yep. Okay. Okay, there, it gives me some healing. Yep, Moonflower, there we go. Said it wrong. Moonflower Dance. Nice poke on that Amir. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's go ahead and dance backwards a little bit. Quite a bit of damage there, unfortunately. But what's good about this is I can still repair the damage to myself because I've got plenty of MP5 from the thing we just picked up. Uh-oh. Wow. That is an amazing amount of damage that you just... That is a huge amount of damage that they just put out. That is ridiculously crazy. Alright. They just focused me. And I should have stayed back, unfortunately, a bit further. And this shows that they easily took me out in my tower. So without my dance, without my waltz, I'm not really going to be able to avoid too much. So I'm going to have to be very careful. Looks like the enemy team is going to be working well together. If I look at this, we've got Amir and Freya. They're probably working together as a 2-man team because we've got a 3-man team on there as well. As you can just see, they're pushing us way back. Amir and Freya just able to push the lane something fierce. So I'm going to do what I can to constantly be putting out damage. Let's get some healing out. Freya, okay, so Freya does have the damage buff, which is definitely what hurt us right there, I'd say. Probably why they were able to kill me so early on. Okay, heal to best stat. I'll go ahead and use my potion because I lost the mana buff. Just kind of keep back. A little bit of push. Not letting Amir get the freeze on me in a bad situation there. We have managed to push them back to their tower. Freya has lost her damage buff, so we'll do what we can to just stay here and keep them pushed back. Freya is kind of hurt. If we focused on her, we could probably take her out, but she is pulling out. I'm not surprised by that. I was able to get a buff on my allies there. As you can see, my creep got a little bit of buff. I was able to hit pretty much the entire lane.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Amir getting pushed back now that he doesn't have Freya with him. Just going to go ahead and get a couple of hits on the tower. And a little bit of healing on best stat.
Out of mana. Okay, be right. Have returned.
Alright, Freya has returned, so let's just go ahead and hit the line. I'm able to do a bit more damage to the line than Freya can. Now, Freya missed the pop-up, so they weren't able to try and hit me again. I now have my ultimate, so we can counter them a little bit. Hitting Amir, probably would want to try and focus that Freya as much as possible. I have my Moonlit Waltz now, so I can avoid major sources of damage as long as I'm not stunned already. Alright, nice. Just a bit of damage to the line. I have to be really cautious at this point because that's what I'm afraid of, is her pop-ups right there. Very nice. Okay, a little bit of healing just in case. Oh, she went back. Oh, nice. She did a little bit of damage with it, too. There's my ultimate. 2-second stun on that Freya. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Alright, let's go ahead and pull back. Oh wow, that Freya nearly dead. Amir nearly dead. This tower is ours. And that Freya. I had no idea you were diving.
Beautiful dance.
Your middle tower is under attack.
I don't usually expect people to be that brazen and dive that early, huh? Fortunately, I don't have any mana. I'm just going to go ahead and go back to lace. Alright, find my boots. Let's buy healing potion, mana potion, times 2. You know what? Get 3 and 3. There we go. Alright, shows that we can get a comeback. If we would have coordinated that a little bit better, we probably could have gotten them before they got back into their tower. Bastet is being pushed really hard right now by both of them. They are working together really well. And unfortunately, they were able to take out Bastet because Bastet kind of pushed a little bit too much when she was alone. So we really need to be careful. This lane is not to be underestimated. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull back. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull back. Wow, completely killed by Freya in my tower yet again.
Your left tower is under attack.
Okay. With that, I know exactly what I'm going to do because then they won't be able to freeze me again. Beads. This is a very bad beginning. The enemy team is definitely working very well together, and it's quite unfortunate for me. So, this being solo queue, right? Not much you can really do against two people really well coordinated. And it'll be funny because I bet you 10-1 they're not even grouped together. They're just really working well together. And Freya and Amir is a pretty good combo. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and grab some mana buff here and just heal myself up as I do damage. Bastet really needs to be careful.
Be careful.
Okay, there we go. I now have mana. Let's go ahead and try and help out Bastet. Alright, enemies are missing left. Oh, well, it's too late now. I got in the lane. I don't know if Bastet reported it, but Freya is already in mid lane. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and help out mid lane because I've got my ultimate. Enemy Freya is nearly dead.
Has been slain.
I'm not sure if Freya decided to stick around after taking out mid. Looks like no. Okay, so I'm going to do what I can here. Let's kind of heal up my creep here from the damage that Ra did. Just going to wait for mid lane to get back into position. Uh-oh. Wow! Thor out of nowhere to a stun right into a Ra ultimate. Oh man, this is going to be the third bad match in a row that I've had with Chang'e, and I hate to say that. Because the last match my team did so poorly that we got decided 3 times in 20 minutes. Just because the lanes got so fed. I'm hoping I can turn this around, though, because I don't want this to be just another bad session. We want to try and do what we can. We want to see if we can at least make something decent out of this. Can we turn a losing situation into a teaching experience? Is kind of what I'm hoping for here. It's going to be kind of difficult. I'm going to go back into my lane. I'm not sure Bastet Chang'e was the best combination, really. It's really the sad part here. Freya is being...
Enemy missing middle.
Whoops.
Defend middle lane.
We need to move in. I was able to stop Freya from doing a whole bunch of damage there, but it wasn't enough. Or was it? Managed to get Freya to hit the creep, so Freya did have to pull back a bit there. Oh, Bastet helping me out against that Freya, so let's do a bunch of damage as we can. Dance through Ra's damage as well. Freya is pulling around to the fire giant, but the cats are not going to hit the giant. They're just going to hit Freya. And there we go. Excellent work. I'm going to go ahead and dance, do some healing. Uh-oh, here comes Ymir. Let's just go ahead and dance to avoid a freeze. Freya is fighting. Uh-oh, there comes Thor. Time to retreat. I was able to dodge his stun. I'm back in my tower, so he won't be able to do too much at distance. Pop my potions.
Be careful.
Oh, there's Ymir. Hey, buddy. Sorry, Ymir. I was able to escape. But there's Onher, who's going to try and kill me in my tower. And, oh! I wasn't able to stun him in the tower. But I was able to do a bunch of damage, and unfortunately, I think Bastet might be able to get on her. Come on, Bastet, Bastet. Come on, hit him with something, hit him with something. There you go, on her down. So, I may not have been able to get him, and unfortunately what happened there too is I got my ultimate off on him, did a good amount of damage, but he had already used his ultimate, so I didn't get the stun. But the good news is I did enough damage, and Onher didn't focus on me when he used his ult. So that allowed Onher to take a bunch of damage, and ultimately we were able to kill him.
An ally has been slain.
Unfortunately, I'm not doing so hot personally, but are we recovering? Well, we're 7 and 10, so we could be doing better. We could be doing worse, though. We could be doing a lot worse. Apollo's in the right-hand lane, way overextended, and I can see his health is down to pretty much nothing. Not sure why he was back that far. I didn't see him actually go that far. So it would look like our team is really pushing a bit too far, making some very bad decisions about when to engage the opponent. Bastet has pushed up far too much several times here. Got her killed with fighting against Ymir and Freya. I mean, when I went down the first time, when Ymir and Freya basically focused on me together, and I dropped really fast, that would have been the clue right there to, you know what, you probably shouldn't engage them by yourself because they're working very well together. It looks like 2 in middle lane. Oh, we're having a really hard time here because they keep pushing on middle lane against our Freya. Freya was probably not the best decision for mid lane. Let's see if we can't do a little bit of assistance here. I've got my ultimate back. I want to use it as much as possible. Yeah, 2 in mid. Alright, I got a stun on one of them, but there's still a couple of them, a whole bunch of enemies in mid lane.
An enemy has been slain.
Oh, here's Thor. Thor's kind of hurt. Let's see if I can't come up behind him when he's not looking.
Catch her if you can. A beautiful slain. Get served.
So using all of my dances to move quickly out of their damage. So Thor was unable to do really too much against me. But it did get them out of mid lane for a little bit there. And so what I'm going to do is offer a little bit of healing to my 2 allies, which is going to heal me quite a bit. And then let's go ahead and just clear the lane. Bastet pushing on her taking a good amount of damage. Looks like unable to do enough to push him back, though. He is probably going to stick around. Yeah, he's down to only about half. But thankfully, Ra is not using his abilities to heal that on her. Alright, let's go ahead and do whatever damage we can. There's some healing, and of course dancing away from the tower. Very nicely done. In 8 seconds, I should be able to stun a couple of them. And we'll see what we can do about that. Let's get a little bit of healing on Ymir. Alright, Ymir pulling back. He is kind of hurt, but Freya and Bastet are pushing with me. We're able to push back on this lane, get a little bit of damage onto the creep. Uh-oh, it looks like an Aphrodite's here. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of dancing, a little bit of healing. I've got my ult, so let's stun what we can. Unfortunately, Freya's ultimate was enough to kill me. And unfortunately, our Freya's ult was not able to kill their Freya, even though she was kind of low. So definitely not getting the team fights that we need here in the middle, and I am being taken down very rapidly. There is definitely a focus going on there for me too, I'm noticing. They are very much wanting to take me out before anyone else. And of course, I am squishy and it is easy to do, so I kind of understand that. Ymir getting a nice ultimate against the enemy Ymir. Thor overextending in the middle. Freya, Apollo, and Ymir will definitely take him out. So the enemy team doing a little bit of an overextending there as well. Even though we were behind, we are starting to catch up. We are ahead on gold by 1,000. We are behind on kills, but only by 1. So that is not too bad. And pretty soon, well, not soon because I'm really lacking the funds right now, but I will be gaining my Chronos Pendant Rank 3, which will allow me to have a whole bunch of cooldown reduction and be able to spam my Crescent Moon like every 2 seconds. So Crescent Moon has been maxed at this point. I have my Moonflower Dance, which is at level 2. That will, of course, be the next thing upgraded to full. So I'll have some healing, and I will have some damage. And then next will be the Waltz to allow me to avoid more abilities. It's kind of tricky to say what to upgrade first, you know? Healing, leveling that up first is definitely a good idea for sustainability in a lane and helping your allies. But of course, sometimes you need the damage of the Crescent Moon. As for the Waltz, it's kind of hard to say what to do there. A lot of consensus seems to be to level up the Waltz last. And I can understand that because all it does is avoid damage. It doesn't really put you in, doesn't really do a lot of damage or anything like that. Uh-oh. I was able to dance out of some of that. Let's pull back this way. We've got 4 in the lane. Alright, Freya is definitely trying to push on me. I'll go ahead and stun her.
An ally has been slain.
So you can see that Freya is definitely focusing on me. She has constantly rushed me. And I will go ahead and dance out of the few hits there. So that didn't do her too much good. Healing to our Freya. Unfortunately, I had to use my ult in order to escape, so I wasn't able to use it in the team fight scenario, but doing what I can to clear lane and push the enemy back. So let's leave the middle lane and see what happens when we do that. Freya... looks like she went left. I'm going to go ahead and go this way and start clearing out this line. Oh, look at that. Just chop, 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 chop. Very nice, Ymir. Very nice. I may eventually get the gold that I need. I am several levels behind. I am the lowest level on my team at level 11. Everybody is like level 14 or 15 at this point, which really sets me behind. Uh-oh. Ymir pushing on her. I wish I would have known he was doing that. I would have helped him with that. And here comes Ra, so let me go ahead and pull back a bit. Let me help Ymir against the enemy Ymir. Oh! I didn't think that stun was going to last that long, or I would have used... oh, I got frozen afterwards, didn't I? Okay. That's unfortunate. I didn't think the stun was going to last that long, and I didn't anticipate the freeze, so I didn't use my beads. So unfortunately, once again, taken out by superior enemy teamwork. I'm 0-6 with only 2 assists. I'm trying. I'm failing, but I'm trying. Unfortunately, this just kind of demonstrates how difficult it can be to use Chang'e. And especially when the enemy team shuts you down. I was focused from the very beginning by the enemy team. Oh, Apollo's going to die because he's just standing there. Right from the beginning of the game. First thing they did, kill me. And so they've pushed me behind on farm, and I think that was really the intention, is they knew how dangerous Chang'e can be when leveled, and so they were like, well, let's take that person out quick. And so every single gank attempt and every single combination attack is really focused a lot on me. So let's get a bit of healing. I'm going to do is kind of come behind here because one of them is really weak and I wanted to try and get that one. Okay, Thor, there we go. Damage, damage, go to double kill right there.
Nice job. Double kill.
Kill steal? With how low you were, I don't even know about that one. But I was able to get Thor because he definitely overextended with too much damage on himself. And of course, Ra got the stun. Alright, so we don't have much going on here in the right-hand lane. I don't see anybody in the left-hand lane. I don't see anybody in the middle lane either. Let's just push as much as we can. I'm just going to have to be careful because I am under farm. I could die at any moment. Alright, so there's Freya. I'll go ahead and heal the line. And I will dance with my Crescent move to get away. Oh, she's going to hit me with her ult. I'll hit her with mine. And therefore I was able to get away. I really hate having to use my ultimate to escape, though. I just don't really have the ability to tackle Freya one-on-one. Alright, I think that Besta is actually thinking I kill-stole on her. I don't know. I mean, she was so low on health that a stiff breeze would have taken her out. Alright, so I've got some mana reduction. Of course, it does have some cooldown reduction on it as well, but I'm already at max there, so that's not a big deal. 10 seconds and I'm going to be able to hit them pretty hard. If that Thor stays in there with his low life, I'll be able to take him out one more time. I'm going to try and come up behind and try and get a decent range on them. If I can hit all of them at once, that'll really maximize the potential of this ability. There it is. Thor is really hurt. On her is also really hurt. I'm coming up behind. I'm going to be able to get a stun on a whole bunch of them. Let's see what I can do. There's Thor getting hit. Nearly dead. Oh, but unfortunately Amir doing a decent job of... Damn. I just don't even... I tried. Man, I get focusing on not dying there, so I couldn't keep the commentary up. My apologies.
A beautiful dance.
Trying to focus on not dying. Wow, that poor Vestat, I don't know. Uh-oh. Heals on Freya. Freya really needs it. Pull back, everybody. Freya, come here. There you go.
Be careful.
Uh-oh, Thor's going into the air. I'm gonna wait for the... Nice. Here they come. There's the ultimate. I hit two of them. Thor nearly dead. There we go. Able to take Thor out with the Crescent Moon. On her going out shortly after. They overextended. Three of their guys are still way back here. If they all would have attacked at once, we might not have been able to get that. Let's get some healing on Amir. Try and help him out. Let's give him a little bit of a physical buff as well. Alright, some healing going out. Coming in with the Crescent Moon. I'm going to dive through the tower. What looks like I don't need to. Ra is already dead. So I was going to use my ability to dodge attacks to try and go through the tower. Oh, I wasn't able to save Apollo. But let's see if we can't do some damage to this Freya. Freya is pretty hurt, but a wall went up. Freya's got quite a bit of movement speed, and I don't blame her, honestly. That's kind of the same build I use. I use the Fatalis with my Freya, and I get quite a bit of movement. It is a very good build for Freya. Oh, but it looks like our Freya is able to get the kill regardless. Very nicely done. Pushing into this tower here. And it looks like we'll be able to get this mid-tower. What's the next item I'd recommend? It looks like the Void Stone is next, so I'm going to go ahead and get a full Void Stone. Personal Void Stone for myself. And I'm going to go ahead and have the Rabbit do that instead of returning myself. Even though I don't have any healing potions, it looks like I'll be able to help sustain. So what I want to do is they're calling for Gold Fury. So what I'm going to do is help with that. And this is great because it means I'll be able to get an item while I'm helping with the Fury. so I don't have to sacrifice one for the other. And I've still got plenty of gold, so when the rabbit comes back, I could easily... Uh-oh. There's Thor, he's pushing with his ultimate. And then there's Amir. Let's see what we can do here. Thor taking a bit of damage. I'm going to try and get the two together. Thor, ooh, what did he die to? He teleported out and then just fell over dead. That was pretty funny. Oh, it was the bleed from Bastet. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. Alright, looks like right lane is being pushed. I've got my full Void Stone. What I'm going to go ahead and do... Oh, I don't want to sell it because that'll probably send the rabbit back without being able to get an item. Next item on the list is the Gem of Isolation. I can probably afford to rank it up. Maybe not. Freya charging in against our Freya, but I was able to put a slight stop to it. Oh, I don't agree with that one right there. I was in the middle of my dancing animation and he still froze me. I don't understand that. Unfortunately, all of them were on me right then and there, and my team was in the middle lane, and they weren't able to get to me. So, yeah, definitely got taken out, but as we can see, I'm making slight comebacks here. I've got 3 kills and 5 assists, so I'm doing much better than I was. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get rid of this Vampiric Shroud. It's not really doing me much good at this point. And we're going to go ahead and get the Isolation Gem. I will be getting the true Isolation Gem, not the Binding Gem. Your attack speed is so slow as Chang'e that it's just not worth it. And again, if you were going to do something like that, you'd really have to focus on the attack speed build. At level 16 here, I've only got 1.15. I think I'm going to have at most 1.3 or something like that attacks per second without building any attack speed. So if you're going to try and do that, you're really going to have to focus on that. And I don't feel that the magic power loss from Fatalis is quite worth it. You have to think about it. Your ultimate scales on 100% magic damage power, so losing that power from a Fatalis really weakens your ultimate. And your Crescent Moon gets a decent amount of scaling as well as your healing, so you really want those to stay up. So losing that on an attack speed item just doesn't really seem worth it to me. The good news is with my cooldown build, again, 2.6 seconds, I can keep the Gem of Isolation up at pretty much 100% of the time as long as I'm spamming my Crescent Moon. There'll be like a half second of downtime between them. Of course, I do not have it fully built yet. Let's go ahead and get it prepped for when I have the money, so 1,180. Alright, let's see what's going on here. Left lane, they have no towers. They have no towers middle lane. Okay, I see Thor up ahead. He's going to use his ultimate, try and get away. Ymir tried to freeze him. Alright, doing my dance just in case he decided to come down on us, but he did not. Ymir's in the middle lane. Let's go ahead and try and push. Oh, there's On Her and Ra also pushing. Ultimate from On Her. I'm going to go ahead and dance through his sands, and I'm going to try and help out Bastet, but it looks like Bastet's going to retreat, so we'll be doing that. So let's go ahead and take out the line of creep. Apollo, nearly dead. Get a heal on him. See if I can help him out. Okay, he's retreating. Very good. So he doesn't need me at this point. He should be able to get away. Freya trying to do a pop-up, but missing. Let's clear the lane. Ymir pushing forward like a champ. Nice wall. Heal on Ymir. Alright, looks like their Ymir is pulling back. Thor clearing the line. Freya staying back as well. Let's go ahead and clear that. Heal Ymir. Ooh, Ymir was able to put the hurt on Freya there. I was going to try and do my ult, but I got stunned just before I could, which I'm actually kind of thankful for, because they were able to kill Freya without my assistance. And it really would have been a waste of the ult. Okay, let's wait for Thor to kind of make a jump. He's going to try it. Oh, he went back. Going to keep healing Ymir.
Be right back. Out of mana.
Yeah, out of mana, probably good reason for leaving. All right, looks like Ymir and Ra are not going to be hasty enough to push forward. what should we do? Looks like Apollo is getting hit in the right-hand lane, so we better move on to him. Apollo running away. I am catching up slowly, level 17, against my level 20 brethren. Apollo still running into jungle here, trying to intercept any enemies chasing him. Looks like they decided not to. Thor pushing in right lane alone, it looks like. Apollo going after Amir. There's a little bit of damage there on Amir. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of healing when we come out of that. Unfortunately, he was able to get into a tower. We have to be careful because here comes Thor. A little bit of damage on Thor, not too much. He's probably building a little bit defensively.
Attack!
Only for physical, though. Alright, let's go ahead and stun the Thor. There's all the damage we need to kill him. Now I'm going to go ahead and run circles around and try and kill this Amir with my Crescent Moon. Very nice, very nice. And now the tower is hitting us. I'm going to go ahead and do a bit of damage to the tower, and I'm going to dance to avoid the last hit from the tower there. Go back in. Let's just trade off some hits, and there we go. Excellently done. Unfortunately, my ult, while being well designed for fighting groups of enemies, is also well designed for bursting down single targets, and that's exactly what I've been using it for. So, alright, on her. I'm going to hold on before I move in. Buy the gem, please. Thank you. Can't forget that I have my courier. I want to make sure that my items are constantly being updated.
Attack, fire giant!
Okay, let's go ahead and kill these guys for fun and profit.
Attack, fire giant!
Fire giant. Okay, I'm gonna move through the jungle, try to avoid kind of being obvious about what I'm doing.
I'll attack the fire giant.
Here I come, boys. Gonna give you a healing. Alright, here we go. Giving physical protection to my allies. Making sure that they can constantly take the hits. I can actually dance through the lava as well. Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, well, that's a minute downtime for my ultimate. But a minute, not terrible, so... Ooh, man, the damage she just took. I wonder how much of that was my Crescent Moon. Hard to say. Alright, we got Ra and Thor kind of pushing on them right now. I've got my full Gem of Isolation, so I can start slowing enemies down. Amir needs just a tiny bit of healing, so let's go ahead and do that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's go ahead and get away from Thor. Wow, there was a lot of damage there. Thor is actually taking a lot of damage in general, not just from me, but... Okay, there's Apollo retreating. I can go ahead and give him a little bit of healing. Unfortunately, they are all getting healing as well. They didn't stay grouped up, so I couldn't ultimate them. Okay, there's Ra and Amir pushed together. On her and Amir. Uh-oh. Okay, let's dance and get a little bit of mana back. I was able to hit a couple of them with the ultimate. Once again, On Her had already pulled out his ultimate, so I wasn't able to really maximize the effectiveness here. I'm trying to help with this Phoenix. There we go. Freya doing much more damage than I can. Uh-oh, On Her hitting me quite a bit. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of healing. There's an ult from Ra. We're gonna better be careful here. Let's dance a little bit. Keep dancing, keep dancing. Dance your heart off. Dance your heart away.
Catch her if you can. Get served.
Alright. Crescent Moon. You just see they're just constantly spamming abilities to get away. There we go. Able to get away. All of them are kind of grouped up. That Amir using his ultimate. Oh, they were too far away. I misjudged that horribly. Horribly. Heals, heals, heals. Oh, Freya's down. He's not going to come down, is he? Oh, wow. I'm surprised he came down so close to us. Alright, let's go to the recommended items. What's next? Rod of Tahuti is next, it would appear, and at 2,000, let's just go ahead and tell him to get the first one.
An enemy has been slain.
Looks like we're going to be able to push in with this one. There's, oh wow, good amount of damage to that on her right there. Let's go ahead and put up some healing. Crescent Moon. Doing as much as I can to help support the team. Let's just go get a little bit of mana back. I've got my ult again. Let's see if I can't not fail at using it this time. There, I got 2 people. Oh, wow. I didn't get the kills, but oh my goodness, the damage that went out, allowing Freya to get the kills there. Not bad. So I didn't get the Rod of Tahuti finished, but that's the build right there, minus the Vampiric Shroud because I sold it. Now, what would I add on to that? Well, like I said, I kind of like the idea of getting additional damage because of the slow attack speed. I would probably go with the Polynomicon. The fact that Polynomicon gives you the magic damage buff every 2 seconds and you can spam your Crescent Moon every 2 seconds is pretty much a really great synergy there, because you can use your Waxing Moon, use a basic attack. So you've hit them with a good damage Waxing Moon. You've hit them with your basic attack, which is going to do a lot of damage as well. Then you can use Waxing Moon again, basic attack, Waxing Moon, basic attack. And you can just alternate like that, and that gives you quite a bit of damage. With that, I might even trade it up a bit and get the Polynomicon a bit earlier, maybe even the Rod a bit earlier. But overall, not, like I said, not a bad build. I think the build that they give Chang'e as a default build really works out. I mean, it's a pretty standard, straightforward, no frills, no compensation for anything the enemy is doing build, but it will get the job done for you. Most of the builds that they give a lot of these gods are very either situational or tanky. They tend to be a bit more supporty. So it's kind of interesting to see that they actually give you a damage with a minor support role with the gem. But overall, I like Chang'e. A lot of people are going back and forth about whether she's overpowered or underpowered, and I think that means she's in a pretty good spot. Because the number 2, right, the 8 seconds, or sorry, the 5 seconds with cooldown gear on the Moonlit Waltz, allowing you to move and dodge out of abilities. As you saw there, I mean, it's really nice to have, and you can get out of some serious tough situations. You can get out of Ares' chains, you can get out of Poseidon's Kraken. Anything you really need to get out of, you can get out of if you use it right. And unfortunately, I don't think I really showed off a lot of her capabilities here. Being focused on early definitely didn't help with that. But I think you can kind of see the potential there. It is the only thing that move does, though. It makes you immune to damage, sure. It gives you brief 25% movement speed, so it's not a leap. It's not a dash. You're not going to get a huge distance away from the enemy using it. I mean, you saw there's multiple times I would use my dance, and sure, I would get some decent movement out of it and get away a little bit. But, for example, Freya there was able to chase me down quite a bit because of her movement speed over mine. I don't think it's overpowered at all. And her ultimate, it hits really hard, and it has a potential to do a 5-second stun, but you need to have all 5 gods lined up together. Now that means you could synergize it really well. Like if we had an Ares and they failed to counter his chains, you could bring them all together, you know, if you had an Odin trap or something like that. Those are the times that you would really get it. Now, I wasn't able to get very many shots off that really showed that off. Most I think I got was, what, 2? I don't even think I got a shot of 3 people at once. And you also saw how much damage it could do. 100% magic damage scaling on that. If I would have finished my Rod of Tahuti, I could have started doing a ton of damage. That Thor that I was killing probably would have dropped almost instantaneously with that ultimate. So, overall, I like Chang'e. I think she's got an amazing kit. She can chase. She can run. She only has 2 damaging abilities, and one of those is her ultimate. So she has to be the kind of god that you want to play, and hopefully what this has done is kind of help you decide if Chang'e is the kind of god you want to either put money on or use your favor on. because that's kind of the whole point of this, is to let you know what she can do, show her in some combat situations, and to give you a rough idea if it's worth your time, your effort. And if you like support, and if you don't mind not having that many damage abilities, if you like the idea of being annoying, all right, build a tanky Chang'e and see how much people hate you. Replace Chronos Pendant with the Armor of Valor. I believe that was the Armor of Valor. No one built it, did they? Oddly enough, neither of our tanks did. But the armor that gives you physical protection and cooldown reduction, replace Chronos Pendant with that. You know, get yourself a Void Stone, get yourself that armor. You could really make yourself sustainable with your invulnerability every 5 seconds, with your healing. You could build fairly tanky, kind of like I've seen some tanky Aphrodites out there, and they're a pain to deal with. If you don't burst them down in time, they'll just run away and heal. So she has great potential there. Not, as you can see, not really the best without good scenario. I mean, there's definitely hard counters to her with certain gods. I mean, that Freya was just, could take me apart, because the high attacks per second that Freya can do is very difficult to counter. Even though I can make myself invulnerable every 5 seconds, her burst damage is high. So burst damage is like Loki and things like that, that is very hard to deal with. But overtime damages, harder hitting but slower hitting enemies are a bit easier to deal with. Raw, for instance, usually very easy to deal with. Apollo can be, if you can predict his moves. So you're definitely going to be situational. And if you're good, you're going to make it so that there are fewer and fewer situations that will be a problem. Because she is definitely a god kit designed around getting your skill up. And what I like about her is that even though she has a high skill ceiling, I don't see her being overpowered with that skill ceiling, because she can be countered, and you can deal with that. There are some gods that have kits that are just a little bit overloaded that I would say are overpowered if they have a good player behind them. Unfortunately, I don't agree with the idea that skill is a balance mechanic. Because in a world of equal skill, that means that god is still too much power, has too much power. I don't really see that with Chang'e. I'd have to see her in more capable hands than mine, though, before I could really make that ultimate decision. But the way it seems right now, she's pretty balanced, and she's pretty fun. I really like the fact that her attacks are musical in nature, by the way, too. I didn't mention that in this, but I've been thinking whenever you attack, there's like kind of a sing-song nature to her attacks and her dancing, and I really like her aesthetic. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. This again was Chang'e. I'm KageKaze, and I'll see you next time.